Hello everyone, my name is Yunus Marangos and today I will be presenting the data analysis report for our research project on sarcopenia. This project was completed by Group 16 using SPSS. Let's begin by looking at how we approach the data and what we've found. Here is our presentation flow. First, I'll give a brief introduction to the study and its purpose. Then I'll show how we categorize the variables and analyzed. After that, we'll look at each variable's data and graphs one by one. Finally, I'll share the key conclusions from our analysis. This flow will help us understand the data step by step. In this study, we analyzed data from 60 patients with rheumatoid arthritis who were being followed in the physical medicine and rehabilitation departments. We divide these patients into two groups based on whether they had sarcopenia or not. We wanted to see how different factors like age, gender, BMI, smoking status, alcohol use, CRP levels, hand gripping strength, and guide speed differ between these groups. This helps us understand the characteristic of the patients and the possible factors linked to sarcopenia. We define one group as no sarcopenia for patients who didn't meet the criteria for muscle loss. These patients generally have normal muscle mass and strength. Identifying this group helps us compare them with those who have early signs of sarcopenia and see the difference in health factor. The second group is called presarcopenia, which means these patients show early signs of muscle loss but don't yet meet the full definition of sarcopenia. Recognizing presarcopenia is important because it can lead to prevent interventions before the condition worsens. This helps provide patient care and quality of life. In our data analysis, we categorized the variables into two main types. First, we had categorical variables like sex, sarcopenia status, smoking status, and alcohol consumption. These variables describe groups or categories. Second, we had numeric variables like age, BMI, CRP levels, hand grip strength, and guide speed. These variables have numerical values that can be averaged and analyzed statistically. Now, our friend Yaren will continue.
Hello, my name is Yaren. I will be continuing with the gender. Let's start by looking at gender distribution. Out of 60 patients, 36 were female, which is 60%, and 24 were male, or 40%. This means that our study group had more females than males. Understanding gender distribution is important because some health factors, including sarcopenia, can differ between men and women. And here we can see the bar chart. This bar chart shows the number of males and females in the study. As you can see, the bar for females is taller than the one for males, clearly indicating that there are more female participants in the group. Next, let's look at sarcopenia status of the patients. 40 patients, or about 67%, do not have sarcopenia. The other 20 patients, which is 33%, have pre-sarcopenia. This means that sarcopenia is not very common in our group, but about 1/3 of the patients are showing early signs of muscle loss. Here we can see the bar chart again, which helps us visualize the difference between the two groups. The no sarcopenia bar is twice as tall as the pre-sarcopenia bar, clearly showing that most patients do not have sarcopenia, but a significant number still needs attention. When we look at the smoking habits, we found that 40 patients are non-smokers, while 20 patients do smoke. This shows that most patients do not smoke, but about 1/3 of them are smokers. Since smoking can affect the health and muscle strength, it is important to consider this factor. When we look at the bar chart, it shows the difference between smokers and non-smokers. The non-smoker bar is clearly taller, meaning that most of our patients do not smoke. Thank you.
I'm Talha Berke Gümüşkaya and I will talk about alcohol consumption. 29 patients or 48% do not drink alcohol. 13 patients or about 22% have quit drinking and 18 patients or 30% currently drinking alcohol. And this information helps us to understand lifestyle factors that could affect health. And the bar chart here shows the largest group is those who do not drink alcohol, followed by those who currently drinking, and then those have quit. This helps us to understand the distribution of alcohol consumption in our group. And after that we have age distribution. The average age is about 59 years and with standard deviation of 9.2 years. The youngest patient is 41 years old and the oldest is 82 years old. This tells us that most patients are middle age or older. And for the histogram, this histogram shows that the most patients are in the 50 to 70 range with a peak in 60 and 69 range. Fewer patients are younger or older than this, and this pattern is typically for patients with rheumatoid arthritis. And for BMI, which is body mass index, the average is 29.4, which means that the most patients are overweight, and the standard deviation is about 5.9, and BMI ranges from 20 to 49. This means there is a wide variety of body weights in our group. And for the histogram, this histogram shows that most patients have a BMI between 25 and 35 with a peak around 30. This indicates that many patients are overweight and some are even in the obese range.
Hello, my name is Raul and I'll be presenting the last relevant part. Next, let's look at the CRP levels, which is a marker of inflammation. The average of C-reactive protein was 7.04 milligrams per liter with a wide range from 0 to 55. Most patients have low levels below 10, but a few have higher levels indicating more inflammation. On this histogram shows a sharp peak at the lower end, meaning that most patients have low CRP levels. As CRP levels increase, the number of patients decreases. Only a few patients have very high CRP levels. Hand grip strength is a measure of muscle strength. The average in our group was 22.77 kilograms, with values ranging from 5 to 50 kilograms. This means some patients had rather weak hand grip strengths, while others are very much stronger. On a histogram, we can see that most patients have hand grips between 20 to 25 kilograms, while fewer patients have very low or very high hand grip strength. This allows us to understand that muscle strength this graph allows us to understand this muscle strength distribution of this group. Gait speed is a measure of walking speed. The average speed is 0.95 meters per second, with a range from 0 to 2. Most patients walk about 1 meter per second. Gait speed is important because it shows how mobile the patients are. And this is the distribution. This is a histogram showing the distribution. Most patients fall between 0.7 to 1.3 meters per second range. And obviously the distribution is quite normal with deviation to either left or right, decreasing the number of participants significantly. Thank you. Thank you for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions, we would be happy to answer them. Throughout this assignment, we were able to familiarize ourselves with a whole new study and interpret the results and the data in meaningful and significant matters. And we were able to analyze the critical independent variables and how they reflect on our study groups. Thank you.